So I've come over today. This just doesn't seem right. It's autumn, it's cold, all the leaves are blowing. Hold on a sec. That's better. Nice new bobble hat. So today, I need to clear. Definitely need to rip everything out. It's time that everything goes. And it's just dragging me down now, to be honest. I'm coming over and I'm seeing all these things that are just rotting away, and I'm trying to save seed as much as I can. I've collected enough, and God, all that seed I collected last week, I put in the shed and I simply forgot to take it home. And a mouse got in and ate it all, so I was annoyed about that. So luckily I came over yesterday and I collected a pile more seed. The only thing that I lost was my Kent blue peas, and they're beautiful blue and white. I'll put them on the screen by here now, and they're just absolutely stunning to have in the plot, and you can also eat them like a sugar snap as well. But luckily I contacted Terry King and I said, like, Terry, have you got any other Kent blue? And of course he has. He was like, yeah, I got 100, so I'll send you some. So thanks, Terry, for that. Oh, lifesaver. So everything else I'm happy with. I've stocked up on all my saved seed again, my sunflowers, my runner beans, and oh my God, the runner beans, for some reason they just carried on growing, and the plant is dead now. Okay, it's at its last legs. But I was having, look at this bean. Look at the size of this bean. It was 18 inches long when I measured it. I thought it was 16, but it was 18 when I measured it, and it was crazy. Like, look at the size of it. It just didn't make sense. So yeah, I've kept a few of the beans back for that as well, for growing on the plot. And also Terry said, because of the size of it, send a few back over. So it's all about giving and, taking and sharing with other gardeners as well. So I've come over, I want to sort the chickens out, clear the plot, and show you what I've got planned. And yeah, it's the plans that I've got is exciting, really, because I know that I've talked about in previous videos about how I, most of it waters itself, and I've got power in every building and stuff. But the next plans is just taking that to another level, because some of the things that I'll discuss that you will have in your garden, and especially in your allotment, where you'll struggle in the winter and autumn. So I'm going to show you a way that's not that expensive to do, and it'll just save you so much hassle. Right, as I always say, let's go. So my plan is today, and it's so weird to have the bobble hats back on, but I'm happy that they're back, because I do miss them, and I do like a good bobble hat. You'll see me have loads through the season, and if you've watched the previous episodes, you'll know that I change my bobble hats like the weather, and I just like a good bobble hat. Right, the plant, let me show you this first. So look at the cauliflowers now, they're just shooting up. You do get the odd one that didn't come to anything, but these ones, they're like the pride and joy. A few little nibbles on the smaller leaves, but they look perfect. Leeks are looking okay. I'm glad I didn't get any Allium leaf miner issues with these. These ones I was going to pull out, but they've seemed to have battled through. A few of them have survived. So I'm just going to leave them and see how we get on. A few cabbages have taken a good hit here. And the thing is with, not using slug pellets, and rightly so, they do damage the nature in the area. But some of them are looking okay. So I've got a few spares that I'm going to dot in here now as well. So that's the best thing to do, is always keep your spares. So today I'm going to just rip this wall down, this wall of runner beans. It is raining a bit, and I'm probably going to get soaked doing it, but it's getting on my nerves now. It's there, and I've saved the amount of beans that I need to, so the rest is going. So it's mostly off now, and I'm debating whether or not to leave the structure up, but I think I will eventually take it down and store these probably in the polytunnel. Now I've got that good extra space, and they should keep dry until next year, and they'll be good enough for next year as well. So there's no point keep throwing things away and buying new all the time. And I will recommend using these hazelnut branches that we use from the boundaries of our allotment. So the founders of the allotment they grew all these hazelnut trees because they have these long branches that are straight and they're perfect for growing, so they forward thought for the next generation of growers, which I think is lovely. So yeah, I'll save these now. And Mark, I will give some credit to Mark because he does moan if I don't. Mark, who has the bees down the bottom, he cut all these from the boundary fences, and I used them all this year and they've been so strong. And to be honest, they are better than bamboo canes because the bamboo canes do struggle to climb these, but by using these rough hazelnut branches, they shoot straight up the canes. So, and they were free as well. You know, what better way than recycling something and also is free. So I think I will keep the Blauhilde, the purple podded French beans, for another week or so, and the same with the, you know, the Liberty beans of Terry King. I think I'll leave them for just a little bit longer because I'm starting to see these huge runner beans, and I'm going to collect some of these today because they're still tender and soft. But most of them, they're going yellow now, and that's the perfect time to collect them. So I've got enough, but I may as well keep some more for other people as well because these are not really annoying me that much. But this had to go. You know, it was a wall of just foliage, and I got to start planning because I need these beds for other things. And I was looking back at my previous videos from this time last year, and that was what spurred the bobble hat. I thought, I haven't got one out yet, and all these beds were empty. I know that I didn't have runner beans and things to pull out last year because it was my new plot, but the plot was a lot tidier than it is now, and I need to focus on a couple of days of clearing right through. And one downside this year, which is changing, the world is changing. We usually have an abundance of bark delivered all through the summer and spring, really, at the top end of the plots. And the council have decided that they're not going to do that anymore, and I think they're going to start selling it to, you know, farms and other areas. So just like most other allotments who don't get that free bark, it was a luxury for us, and we now, you know, we now have to source our own bark. And it's a shame really, because I normally like to put a nice layer of bark through this plot, and the plan was to dig up most of this and use it as mulch because it rotted down really well, and I might have to hold out. And just like Malcolm Kingswell, you know I gave him a pile of that bark, and it looks fantastic on his plot. And if you haven't seen his channel, you know, I'll put a link in the description. But he's, you know, I took some up to him, and he did some of his new paths because he wants to make his plot, you know, a lot, you know, less maintenance really than cutting all the grass. But I'm gonna have to source another way now of putting all the bark all through my plot, and that's going to be a challenge, I think, but needs must. So one of the next jobs I'm gonna have to do in the next week is trim back all of this grapevine. Now there is some plans for that because, you know, it has to stay, because would it be the grapevine allotment without a grapevine? But there is some plans for it, and this one's been in for a long time, so I'm debating putting a new vine in and moving this one, and hopefully that it'll bed back down. But there are a few plans for it, but it definitely needs to be trimmed back. And a couple of thoughts about the plot that needs to change, because it's the first year and I've learned a few things that definitely needs to change for next year because they just don't work for the plot. But right, next job. So if you are thinking of saving some seeds of those lovely runner beans that you know grow this year, don't think, oh, I'll get the same next year from the shop. Why not keep some? So don't collect them when they look like this, you know, bright green. I know they look quite large beans, but still, you want them to be like a papery type. I'll show you now. So you want them to be like this, papery brown, and they rattle, so you know the beans inside are fully gone to maturity and they're perfect for growing next year. So that's my little tip today. So I've collected the last of the Crimson Crush tomatoes, and boy, have I got a few in here that needs to be harvested as well. Let's have a look in the greenhouse. So I've still got some Tigerellas that all need to be harvested today, and the same as the Brads. We've got a few Brads Atomics that are still, you know, ripening up, and look at these. They're all ready now. They're definitely all ready, all golden. So that's when you know they're soft and they're golden. But I've also got the Romas finally came to fruition. So they'll all be harvested today, and I've got a plan for those as well. So I've got a huge amount of Roma, Crimson Crush, Tigerella, and also one of my favourites as well, the Brad's Atomics. So I've got plenty here now, and that's the last harvest definitely. And I also picked this beautiful red, you know, King of the North pepper that was in the mini polytunnel, and there's quite a few large ones on there now going red. So they were a success, you know, they were sown in January and I'm harvesting them now in October. It's a long process for a few peppers, but it's worth it, definitely worth it. So I think I'll let the girls out for a bit, and I'm not worried about them anything now on the plot that they might eat and damage. It's free for all, let them enjoy themselves, you know, they have a good hour now out here and they can just raid the plot. So I learned something the other day, that if you okay, maybe not. So a chicken has got a bit of a gimbal in his head. Okay, maybe not. Apparently they're supposed to keep their head when you... It's not working, is it? I've seen it online, honestly, that if you hold a chicken and move it around, its head stays in the same place. I'm going to try with another chicken because I swear this works. Oh, whoa, am I doing it? So see? So it does work. So if you keep a chicken... Oh, I give up. I give up. Just a little update on the beans that I planted, and they were inspired by Jane Kelly and also Will at the Flying Gardener channel, and again I'll put a link in the description for those channels, and they're all starting to flower now. So there should be some beans on here before long. And if you remember that plant, I put in that little sucker, and when Malcolm came over, good luck, there's some Tigerellas here all growing. I am going to pull the plant out now because it's taken over this bed. It's huge, but it just proved there's plenty of green tomatoes on here, but I also got a few red ones too. So all of that now, all that tomato foliage, will be popped into the compost bays and used as a green, you know, the green matter as well, the nitrogen into the compost bays. So this soil, even though it's used a lot, look at it, it's beautiful. It's well rotted now, and I did put quite a bit of fresh, you know, manure on this a long time ago, and it's all breaking up now. This needs a top up, and this will be ready to go for either autumn planting, or I'll put a good layer on, cover it with cardboard, and it'll be ready for spring. It seems weird now pulling everything off this archway, and it's been such a big part of the plot, having all those sunflowers climbing all over it. I'm going to keep this one in because I still feel a bit guilty, because it's still producing, you know, sunflowers, and I think this one is called Autumn something. So if I remember, I'll put it down by here so that you'll know. So I'm guessing that's why it's still blossoming, because we're in autumn. And I don't want to kill it just because it's still showing some, you know, some blossom, and it's still blooming, so I'm not taking it down. The rest are dying now, and I'll collect the last bit of seed off for other people that have asked for it. And yeah, I just feel so naked now, and I can slowly see my plot going down to bare soil, and I actually get excited about that, and I just know that there's things ahead to come. Now, I've had a few people ask me where I get my white nets from, and also these clips. Now these are just like carnival clips. I think they're 6-inch clips, and they're perfect for like raised beds, so they just clip over the side, and they've lasted me, like, God, I've had these about 2 years now. And the net is just like a veggie mesh, you know, you can search online for it, and There are a few other brands, but I get like a non-branded one because it's a little bit cheaper. And the good thing about them is if they go that little bit yellow or green, you can put them on a light wash, a really cool wash. I put a tiny little drop of bleach in and they come bright white again, ready for next year, nice and clean. Let more sunlight in and the plants will benefit from it. So that's my little tip for today. So I don't think I'm going to bother going to the plot today. I went up yesterday, everything looks fine. There's not much going on there. All the stuff from First Tunnels to recover it has arrived. So I'm really excited about that, but I've decided I'm not going to do it until March because it'll be warmer. You don't want to put plastic over that's cold on a frame and then in the summer it expands and it starts wobbling around and whatnot. So I'm going to leave it a little bit longer, have some patience, and I think it'll be worth it. I'll probably fit all the other bits and bobs that I've got, like the staging and stuff, but the cover, I'm going to have to get rid of. And plus I need to dig around and do a trench and whatnot. But I've had so much inspiration already, so if you haven't already, go and take a look at Roos Life. She's got a fantastic channel, and we really want to get her to 1,000 subscribers. She's so close. So go over there, have a look at her channel, consider subscribing. She's given me so much inspiration for her polytunnel, and she grows the most fantastic stuff on her land. And she's got like beautiful animals, and I'm sure you'll enjoy her channel. So she knows her stuff. And she's also got a tortoise. So if you like tortoises, get over there. Right, as I always say, guys, I'm going home. So take care, guys, and I shall see you again soon.